Speaker was a gunner, assigned to the 513th Squadron?
514th, that was...
514th, okay. All right, I got that wrong off the website too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, he was on board plane number 74 when the 376 bomb group, with the 376 bomb group, when it was shot down in Yugoslavia, as described in the book by the same name by Fred Stengel. I've read that book, it's a great read. Here to tell us about being shot down in Yugoslavia is Donald Buck.
It's going to be hard to follow him, I'll tell you. I've got one suggestion for him, too. A couple of times I've made a CD like This Is Your Life with an interviewer. And I think it's a good idea for everybody to do that. And leave it, they may not care about it. I think I made a couple and they don't even want to see it. I probably haven't seen it. But anyhow, I gave one each to the family. I think it's a good idea for a lot of people to do that. You don't have to be a veteran either. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. When you get to be my age, you need to have lots of help with your health problems. I've got arthritis working on my feet. Then trauma is in my blood. Macular degeneration, good old Jack back for my eyes, and prostate. If you can stay around with him long enough, you'll get cancer. My eyes have macular degeneration, and I have other problems like falling over my tongue sometimes. But I have my family and friends that take care of me, and I've got Jesus Christ to look after my soul. I was 10 or 11 years old when I first had experience of flying. I went to the county fair, and they had an old Ford tri-motor airplane there giving rides. And I suppose I get 50 cents or whatever. You take a ride around Marshtown. And I got one of my classmates to go with me, and he got sick and scared. And I was having a great time. I enjoyed it. I decided I wanted to fly when I got after that. I knew when I got out of school and was 18, I was going to go to service probably. So as soon as I was 18, I borrowed my father's old 37 Nash, went down to Des Moines and enlisted. Well, I might have been a bit nervous. I would guess I was more than that probably. Anyhow, they didn't take me that day. So I went home, and about 3 months later they drafted me. I went down to Fort Dodge, and they gave me a whole lot of tests and said, "How would you like to be in the Army Air Corps?" I said, "Oh, I guess I would, yeah." And so I got in the Army Air Corps and cadet program, and went down to Wichita Falls, Shepherd Fields, had my basic training. Then they sent me up to Utah, Logan, Utah, to Utah State College. Then we get our college education there for cadets. And while we were up there, we were about 250 of us cadets up there, and we marched to class and marched home, and the girls were not in our classes. And there were a couple of thousand girls up there, probably, I suppose, I don't know how many. Anyhow, the girls organized a date bureau, and they agreed that if we called them, they would accept our invitation if they joined the date bureau. Well, I've had a few dates with a couple of them, and this one girl was a pretty nice looking gal. She invited me to come out to supper in her house because her family lived in Logan. Well, we had a nice supper with the family and got a couple of siblings, and after supper, they all got up and then we got someplace to go. The girl and I were left there alone. Now, so I suggested maybe we should do the dishes and clean the table off. No, that was not what you had in mind at all. So I thought it was hard and fast, you know. And her religion, mine didn't quite match up, so I took her out for a walk. And I kissed her goodnight and went back to safety of my barracks. Okay, after that we got through and we were supposed to go to primary, and they said we got too many pilots. All you can volunteer is flight training. I got to do something different. So they sent me to gunnery school up in Las Vegas. And after that, I joined the crew for training in the bomber. Then done training in the B-17, mostly in the B-24. And I ended up on a crew with a B-24. And I nose turret gun assigned to that. I liked that turret. People said, oh, I wouldn't sit up there. But I could see everything, and I loved it. I loved flying, like Bill said. And after training, they sent us overseas on the troop ships. The old French liner wasn't much great, but it was 16 days to get over there. And then we got San Pancrazio, and then southern part of Italy, very poor part of Italy. But we started flying a mission. And that was the fall of 1944. The first 8 missions went pretty good without much incident, except for one, I guess maybe our tail gunner, Red Broughton. We were flying one day up high at altitude. He said, I smell smoke. Anybody else smell smoke? No? I still smell smoke. No? That's me! I'm on fire. His electric suit had sorted out. But it kept us warm. And I didn't have a whole lot of trouble with any of mine. But anyhow, I thought they were great. On the 9th mission, we were going to Moose River oil refinery on this edge of Vienna. Well, we got up there and we got completed our mission. We had dropped the bombs. I toggled the switch and dropped the bombs. And about that time, we had a big hole show up on the left wing between 1 and 2 engines where a shell went through. And it cut the fuel lines at that point. And we were pumping out 100 octane gasoline and a huge vapor cloud. And why it never caught fire, I don't know. Except that maybe somebody looking after us that day. And then we had another shell went through the other wing, which didn't explode. If either one of them had exploded, they would have blown the wing off. They didn't. And we were down to 2 engines after got the fuel lines. And pretty quick, the 3rd engine went out. They shot the oil river out with the shrapnel. And then they said we probably should be bailing out. Well, they had assigned us a photographer that day to take photographer pictures of the bomb strikes back of the waist. And he was hurt. He had shrapnel wounds. And he's bleeding pretty bad. And Carter says, I can't bail out. I'm hurt too bad. Well, we kind of talked it over a little bit. Said, well, if he can't bail out, I guess we'll just all stay with the airplane. So we called for fighter protection. We were out of the formation. We couldn't keep up with them, of course. And we had one injured on number 4. Anyhow, the report came back. I just got the boss, don't you worry. And that was reinforcing. That's kind of took attention out of things a little bit. I wasn't too scared, I guess. I don't know what that's the matter with me, but I wasn't. And we flew for probably about 100 miles on one engine. Had the co-pilot was the first pilot, actually, for another plane, and he another crew. When the first replacements came, they had to go a couple missions with other crews to get indoctrinated. And we got him indoctrinated that day. Anyhow, he was designed to push on the rudder to keep us going straight. It was about hard he could. And Joe flew the airplane, our pilot. And he was a great pilot. And I think Joe should have the DFC for all this. I'm putting in a plug for him, but he's dead now and has been for a number of years. Anyhow, we were very fortunate to have Joe for a pilot. And we went until finally the last engine quit because we couldn't get fuel to it. We'd really pushed it hard. And looked down and there's the Cosmo River. And south side looked like a little better than the north side. There's a little timber on the north, and there's a cornfield on the south. And we came into land. I'd stayed in my turret all this time in case any fighters wanted to bother us. I'd be there. And I scooted out of my turret and through the tunnel, and back up into the flight deck. And I sat down behind the pilot and put my back up against his seat. And that's where I was when he landed. Joe put the plane down with no engines in a snowy cornfield on the 7th of February. He tore off the left landing gear when it hit the ground. Otherwise, that airplane could have been replaced. It had 2 good engines, because we didn't run them much. They were way behind enemy lines. No way you could get back. We just got on the ground, and the old farmer came out right. I thought he was old. He probably was 60. I don't know. I mean, that's pretty young right now. Anyhow, he came out and looked at the airplane and said, "Machine broke?" I said, "Yes, it broke." "Jesus Christ, that's too damn bad," he said. Then he told us, the partisans are coming. It's all enemy territory. We didn't know where we were, except we were on the bank of the Cosmo River. Anyhow, he said, right over there, edge of the river, the other side, East Icer. If you got landed over there, they probably wouldn't even take prisoners, so you'd be more likely to be dead. And that's just happenstance. We landed on that side because it looked like it was better. And it was not one of our safe areas listed in our map. It happened the partisans were controlling about 10 square miles right in that area. We landed on the edge of it. You tell me how to explain all this without some divine intervention. But all these things happened. Our crew, not one of them was hurt. One fellow had a scratch on his hand from a piece of shrapnel. It didn't even hardly hurt him at all. Carter, photographer, they assigned us that day, had shrapnel wounds. We got down, they took him to propose a mass unit of some kind. And then we didn't see him while we were there again. We stayed there. Well, first of all, there was an English mission there. And the first 3 nights, 3 of us stayed in the English mission. They were working in the parks and bringing in supplies for them and keeping them going. And then they found a house for us. It's kind of an adobe type house. It looked like it might be set up sort of as a duplex maybe. And we had one side of it. And we had a fairly good sized room and a little entryway, like this nice room area, but no plumbing and no heat. And we had a little straw put on the floor. That's our bed. And like a dirt floor. Anyhow, on the other side of us, behind us, was another room, and a Yugoslav family were in that room. And a man and wife and a couple of kids. And they walked through our room to get to their room. So that's how much privacy we had, anyhow. And they were always fighting, screaming at each other. And he'd scream at her with some English cuss words. And then he'd wink at us, like she didn't know. But whatever. I think she did. And we stayed there for 23 days, totally. And officially we're missing in action. Although I think they probably should have known where we were because the B-51s followed us right to the ground. And then on the 1st of March, they brought in 2 C-47s for supplies for the partisans. Well, on the 1st of March, snow had just melted off and the frost had gone out of the ground. As soon as they got on the ground and stopped, the planes went down to the axle in the mud. And they unloaded the supplies. And they got a couple of oxygen, or I think 4 of them actually, and said we could pull them out of the mud. No. Not run the engines, and they thought that'd scare the oxygen, so we tried that and finally broke a lug chain. That was the end of that. So we changed our tactics, and well, they got the women to do a lot of the work, so they got them big trenches out in front of the wheels. And so they did. And we had little ramps built, and we put brush in them. And, well, actually, I should tell you, on the other side of our duplex were partisan girls, and they pounded on the wall and hollered at us. We didn't respond, so, because it was not a place to be messing around, I tell you. And they did a lot of the work. They were in uniform along with the men. Then we got the 2 pilots in there, our South African pilots, they actually were. And then the plane and Carter, they brought him and put him in so he could go. And then we all got under the wings, C-47s got low wings, and down in the mud, everybody could lift and push. And all these people came out, got on the wings and pushed and helped. We got her rolling, jumped on the airplane, stopped again in the mud. That didn't get very far. Well, I thought we'd better change our mind about that a little bit. So we did the whole thing again. And we got rolling and let her keep going, and we were running alongside. And I could run pretty fast. I was 19, especially with that kind of incentive. Anyhow, I let the other guys get on first. And then they helped me in the door. The doors are low on the C-47. It wasn't too hard to bail into the door. And besides that, the tail right behind you. You didn't want to stick around. And that's the fight I did not want to miss. And they flew us back to Bari in Italy to a hospital. Well, the first thing they did is took everything away from us we had, put us in the shower, because we did have fleas, and I don't know what else. Anyhow, so we were in the hospital that night, and we didn't have anything to do. We wrote letters. First of all, we sent telegrams to all our families saying we're back. Not a one of them went through. I don't know why they never did, but it didn't. Then we all wrote letters. Sent them off to our family. Well, I didn't have a wife or not even a girlfriend. I wrote to my folks. And because they were upset we were missing in action, according to them. The beneficial Major Twining, from General Twining, was that we were missing in action. The mail carrier was a good friend of my family, and he was sorting his mail the night before and delivered the next morning. And he saw a letter from me. So he called my folks. And I said, I've got a letter here from Don. Do you want it? And they came up and got it, of course. And so they got word right then. And I went through in 4 days, which is a record, I think, at that point. And so she called one of the other crew members' family and said, you heard anything from Jim? No. So they called all the crew members and told their wives, my family and whatever. None of them, and the others had heard in that time. So that was kind of good that they got the word to them upon it. Well, I guess I don't know how long I need to go here, but I could go on for hours, but you don't want to hear all that either. I don't too damn many stories. Anyhow, I think probably it's...
Any questions?
Yeah, I have any questions? Yeah.
Did you ever know who any of your helpers were, like after the war? Did you have any contact with partisans that helped you? And number two is, do you know what the nearest town was? I mean, were you in Croatia or Slovenia? Do you know where you were?
We were southeast of Zagreb, I think, on the Cosmo River, where we landed. There was a little town where we stayed. And actually, all it was a bunch of houses on each side of the street. And it didn't amount to a town, really, but it was. Mud road came in through there. One time, we just didn't have a lot of time around there. No duties in particular, but Germans came over about every once in a while and dropped a few bombs. And didn't hit anything much, but like the one on MASH, I guess, when Charlie had come across or whatever. And the partisans shot at them some. Actually, when we got on the ground, they wanted our machine guns. So we took them out of the plane. And while we were doing some of that stuff, the partisans came around. And they had their little machine guns, whatever. Anyhow, they were all underneath the bomb bay. We was down on the left side, because the one landing gear was broke off. But the gear was still enough to hold us up, and we were in the Bay of Bombay. It's full of gasoline fumes. And we looked around, and one of the partisans had on his Zippo, and it wouldn't light. Joe didn't even stop to talk to him. He grabbed him and threw him out our pilot. Because I thought if that blew off, we could have blown up the plane at that point, but we didn't. Well, we finally got out of there, and so they sent us to, well, actually, that night after we were there, we didn't have any clothes or anything. You know, I found out there was a movie there an outdoor movie, and so we grabbed a blanket off our beds, and wrapped in the blanket, and went down to the movie. Sat down on the bench. Pretty quick, one of the hospital personnel who was working there came. He said, you know, patients are not allowed at an 8 o'clock movie. One of the guys said, we're not patients, we're just here to get deluxed. He didn't bother us anymore. Then they sent us to Alacapri for 6 days, I think we were to Alacapri, for rest camp. And after the rest camp, we found out 376 had gone home. And we didn't go with them. So we were assigned to the 461st. Moved up Sharonova. And they threw 7 more missions up there after that. And the war ended. Sent us home. They flew a B-24 home. And I suppose they jumped. I don't know. I don't know. How long are we on? Have we got on?
We have a few more minutes.
Oh, well, okay. All right. Oh, I'll tell you, we're running out of Capri. And they had everything blacked out. And our waist gunner was a fellow named Al Roman. Grew up in Babylon, New York, on the waterfront. And he was built like a gorilla almost. But a nice guy. He wandered around in the dark out there in Isle of Capri. A couple of fellows that were personnel on the Isle of Capri thought he was somebody else. He was horning in on their girlfriend. So they went up to Al, and one of them took the flashlight, shined it in his eyes, and hit him in the nose with the flashlight. The other guy jumped on his back. Al took the guy in front of him and beat the stuffing out of him. He got through with that. He pulled the guy off the back and beat him up. They were all bruised up and battered. He had to get scratch on his nose with hitting a flashlight. Anyhow, he didn't fool with Al. But he was trained in the airplane. He's out there in the waist. He'd get rambling around in there and he'd pull his oxygen hose loose. And he'd sit there looking at it. He said, I knew I should hook it up, but I couldn't do it. He's as big and strong as he was, he could not do it. Maybe I'd hook it up for him, then he'd be fine. He did it several times.